youth-led initiative Before We Forget and brings together a spectrum of experiences of 32 caregivers and people with dementia. The full disclosure of names in the book hopes to dispel shame and stigma that is associated with dementia. If you do flip through the book, you will not only notice the touching stories by the contributors, but also spot familiar names like Mr. Wang Says So, Mr. Miyagi, filmmaker Wu Jin-feng, and photojournalist Bob Lee. Before delving any further, we would like to invite our guest of honor, Ms. Denise Phua, to give her opening address. Ms. Phua, please.
This is very formal. Hi, everybody. How are you? Very glad. Thank you, Jeremy, for inviting me. And Xian Jie, who's in charge of the project as well. And I guess all the contributors are here. I've never met Mr. Wang. Where is he now? Is he here? Okay, we're reading a blog. And Miyagi as well. Are you here? No. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for inviting me again, especially Jeremy. Very happy to be here for the launch of Grandmother's Garden and Other Stories, which is, I believe, a compilation of stories from family members, caregivers, and people with dementia. And so thank you, Jeremy, for doing this. And quite a number of the contributors are here and supporters of this cause as well. I come from a family that can be considered grade A. A, not in the academics A that most of us would straight away think about, but A because my son has autism and my mother has Alzheimer's disease. So we're really an A-class family. Autism and Alzheimer's. And that's why when Jeremy wrote to me, which I didn't know who you were, I had to Google about you first, but I was very glad to support, not because you're young, but because I feel that if this had come out during when it's earlier, many years ago, I would have done much better as a daughter. So thank you for doing this. It was also at a family caregivers conference organized by the Singapore, the Tan Tock Seng Hospital, that I first learned very much more about dementia, Alzheimer's, illnesses that come upon people who are old from the doctor's stand. There was Dr. Chin, I don't know if he's here. Dr. Chin, who's in charge of the geriatrics in Tan Tock Seng, is not here. He and his staff, many of them are also involved in the Singapore Alzheimer's Disease Association. Alzheimer's Association are very helpful to me and my family, and help us actually negotiate quite a lot of the ways of dementia. We didn't know because my father died when we were quite young, and we never come across people, or know very much about elderly people with illnesses, so that was quite difficult for us. My mom was, she's now in her 70s, going to her 80s. She can't recognize us anymore, our family. Very capable woman when she was young. Chinese educated, or not very educated, but probably was one of the first pioneers of Singapore tuition syndrome. And she doesn't know Chinese, but she knows where to send me for tuition, and then she knows where to apply for which school. We're all totally blurred. I was the eldest. But my mom was very, very capable. She was a tailor, she ran a she's seamstress, and then she ran a canteen store, very, very capable. But now she completely cannot recognize our family, my siblings and I. And also, she needs 24/7 care. And so she's looked after daily, every minute. Actually, she can't walk very much now, by my helper from Indonesia. And so, I guess to all the people who serve, I don't know how many of you are professionals here. I can see some social work. Those from social work, thank you very much. Thank you very much for serving in this space. It's not easy, but it's very helpful and very important to those of us who go through this journey. Thank you. At the national level, of course, I don't know if what's been mentioned just now, but the statistics are pretty telling. We all know that by the year 2030, 1 in 5 people are above the age of 65 and above. Okay? And the Alzheimer's Association told me that about 5.2% of people over the age of 65, more than 5% of people over the age of 65 suffer from dementia. And therefore, with this kind of numbers, there will be, I guess, more than 50,000 people with dementia in 10 years' time. So that's quite a lot. It's bigger than, well, I serve an autism community, most of you know that. It's about 25,000 of them. So, I mean, this is much more than the people with autism, for example. And it was very heartening to know that in recent years, I guess there's no choice, but the Singapore government has been placing a lot more focus on aging issues. Many of us know that the Council for Third Age has been set up, and in the Grassroots People's Association, the active aging movement has been quite intense. It's moving along. And also many daycare centers, nursing homes, with dementia facilities, carer support, training groups are also now available. And I know that there will be even more emphasis on the facility and manpower planning to get ready for what I call this elderly tsunami. Well, I've also long believed that the character and maturity of the society is reflected very much in the way that we treat people who are unlike us or who may be a lot more disadvantaged than us. And I do believe that, however, that people also who are elderly, I know we're talking about dementia, or at various stages of dementia, I feel like they also should not be regarded as burdens to us as communities of people who we must do things to, or that they therefore are objects of pity, for the rest of us Singaporeans to contribute to do projects too. And I therefore, I want to take this chance to also share something that I feel, starting to feel something about, which is a syndrome called, a phenomenon called ageism, A-G-I-S-M, the other A, Okay, and I hope that those of us who are here, who care for the cause as well, must say no to ageism, which according to Wikipedia means this. Okay, it's age discrimination, it means stereotyping and discriminating against individuals or groups because of their age. Ageism is a set of beliefs, attitudes, norms, values used to justify age-based prejudice, discrimination, or subordination. And so some people, and in my experience, because I've been an MP for 7 years now, and serving in the non-profit sector for more than 10 years, in my opinion, I think there are some people in Singapore who genuinely believe that anyone who's above age 60 should spend their time doing Tai Chi, karaoke, brisk walking as their main form of activity, and that the blissful life will be one when you retire and then you do part-time work, or if you care enough, you do charity work sometimes, you collect your CPF, you enjoy life in general. I think that's a common perception of what we think life should be after retirement, after 60. I have a problem with mindsets like this, mainly also because I have many friends who are above 60 and above 70 even, who are so much better in the technology, for example, than I am, and who's been still sending me a lot of links and things they do, and when they serve, they don't make a big do about this, they just serve as part of their life. So I have a certain mindset, a certain prejudice against people who believe that people of a certain age must be a certain way. So I hope that this is not the group that thinks that way, and that we will, even though we're talking about dementia, various stages and so forth, we're really support people who have those symptoms, but we don't have to think that just because people have mild dementia or they suffer something that comes from growing old, that they are therefore incapable or disabled. So I just want to warn everyone, or at least remind myself against that. And maybe just to continue with my mom. My mom, who is now approaching 80, cannot recognize us anymore, those of us in the family. And so someone very practical came to my house one day, and he asked me, very practical, nice chap. He says, so what if my mother cannot recognize all of us, neither can she really walk or eat on her own now, she's not independent, okay? And then why do we still need or bother not so much about greeting her, chatting with her, arranging, making sure that the very noisy, regular family gatherings are happening, and why do we still do all these things, even though my mom can never recognize us, that does not recognize us anymore. And I shared with him this story, and I want to share with you that story, this story also today. It's a story that picked up, I think it's in through the internet, I'm not sure, but many years ago. And the story goes like this. There was this elderly man whose wife suffers from severe dementia. And the wife is put into a home because he couldn't provide the caregiving. But this elderly man makes tremendous efforts to visit his wife, each day at the nursing home where she resides. So one day, a staff, that's the author of the story, staff working at the home asked this old man why he puts in so much effort. Why he puts in so much effort when the wife obviously can no longer recognize him and much less appreciate what he does. And the old man, as the story goes, looked into the eyes of the one who asked the question and said this. The old man said this: "My wife may not be able to remember me. My wife may not be able to remember me, but I'm still capable of remembering that this is my wife, whom I love. My wife may not be able to remember me, but I still remember, I'm still capable of remembering that this is my wife, whom I love." And that story struck me a lot and always reminded me that, well, my mother can no longer recognize me, nor remember me, nor know actually who I am. I'm still capable of remembering that this is my mother, whom I love. So, ladies and gentlemen, just want to wrap up. And I guess in a world that's always that always talks about what's in it for me whenever we do something, there are many things that we need to do as part of being human. Things that maybe to some of us make no sense at all in terms of gratification or payback or rewards. But these are some things that we need to do when you're doing that one thing today. I do believe that the highest form of love is not conditional. And I don't know what you get out of this, Jeremy and team, doing this project. I suspect it's just something that you feel is your calling, and I appreciate very much what you do. And also to the contributors of the story, to the Hyatt Foundation, and other people who supported Jeremy and Xian the project, and the team. Thank you for supporting them. I think remembering the people who no longer can remember us, that's part of being human, and part of retaining our humanity, part of retaining our soul. You heard of this. What is the profit of man if he gains the whole world but loses his soul? So let me again applaud you for the good work that you do. Let me thank the some 30 writers who contributed to the book. Let me thank the sponsors of the book, the MCs, the publisher, and everybody who made it possible. Although I guess it's way too late for me to learn enough to make a difference to my mom, I do feel it's something very important, and that's why I said this to you when you called. Thank you very much, and before all of you go, be sure to buy lots of books. Be sure to use your Facebook, your Twitter, and whatever social media you are, to publicize this book and the cause and the calling that's behind this book, and let's all of us support it. Thank you very much.